felt really bad.
How's everybody doing?
What did you think of your first day on the field yesterday?
I think there's a lot of stuff personally I can work on, but overall as a team, I think we came out great energy. The speed and everybody was working hard, working very fast, and being very efficient.
So Shedeur, Tom Brady talked about sending you a message after the draft. So what did you take away from that? His advice to you.
That was it. My story's gonna be similar. I was a late round draft pick, but we're here now, so none of that stuff matters. That just mattered on the day, and I'm just excited to be here and ready to work.
I know it's early, but have you been able to gravitate towards someone, attach yourself to someone in this building in your time here already?
Yeah, I say it's only really rookies in the building right now, and all of them real cool, and they got great personalities. So I'm glad to have that team bonding, that team chemistry back, being, on your own with Pro Day and with the combine and everything is more individual for that. So being around that team environment, I'll say, is the best right now.
Shedeur, not many rookies or draft picks have the opportunity to have the President of the United States going to bat for you in the middle of the draft. So what was that like for you?
Oh, no, I was truly thankful. For it, including him. There was a lot of fans, a lot of people in barbershops, a lot of hairstylists. There was a lot of just fans, of me and of my craft and of my family that was there to support. So I was just thankful that I have that foundation overall, just as people, and we all could come together as one.
Shedeur, you have incredible popularity. You're just starting your career. Immensely popular. Why do you think that is?
Why do you think?
You're likable.
Well, yeah. I guess that's what it is. I just be myself every day. I can't control what's external. I can only control what's internal.
But with that, Shedeur, how do you block all that stuff out and be a football player?
By doing what my dad raised me to do since I was like 5 years old. I seen it. I seen what he was able to do, and I have a lot of great resources and mentors, to keep me on the right track. And especially coming in this building, we have great coaches in the building, able to, keep me focused, keep me in a straight, narrow line.
What's the balance between knowing you're competing and wanting to be the starter here for a long time, but also being right here, just getting started?
Well, of course, it's day by day. I just find something I want to perfect and just perfect it to the best of my abilities. And that's all I really focus on, and just being there, just being a leader, being a great teammate, doing what I need to do whenever it is. So I'm just thankful for an opportunity. Things could have been a lot worse, but I'm here smiling in front of you all at this facility right now.
Shedeur, what's your interactions been like with Dillon since you guys have gotten into the building together?
Cool, normal. Yeah, it's been normal. He's a real cool guy overall. Yeah, you could tell he always have a great mood. He's always in a good mood. I only been around 2 days though, but he always have a great mood. But overall, I could tell he's a pretty good person.
Shedeur, how do you come in here, just from a mental standpoint, your approach? 5th round pick, they did draft Dillon 2 rounds in front of you, and you come into basically a 4-man quarterback competition for potentially a starting job in your rookie year.
I just feel like in life and everything, it's just me versus me. I can't control any other decision besides that, so I just try to be my best self at all times.
Shedeur, can you talk about the community work you've done so far here since you've gotten to Cleveland?
Yeah, so typically every state I go to, I don't really be on like social like that. I got people that just run it for me and stuff. So like what I find fun and interesting, and it's a lot of just, I don't know, it's just joy to me. It's just going to those high schools, middle schools, and just, engaging with the younger kids, because they mind's not corrupted of other people's opinions. So that's why I find joy and happiness going to different schools and being able just to talk to them and see the joy on their face because they followed the journey. So even through everything, whenever it was going crazy, wild, negative, everything, my happiness was going there. So that's what I always resort to. I always like send pizza to their school, like show them like, you know, that I'm still able to connect with them. They still able to connect with me. And eventually I was supposed to get on the game with them also, but I don't have my game out here right now.
So that was the plan regardless of the slide in the draft, right? Become a right
Yeah.
and wanted to-
All you gotta do is just look it up. You'll see the history. I don't do anything for PR. I don't do anything because anywhere I go, you know, cameras will come. So it's not really nothing I typically try to do. It's just, you know, my life and just what it came with.
Shedeur, it seems like you have really kept your head up, you've kept your spirits up.
Mm-hmm.
You always have a smile on your face, even in the wake of tumbling to the 5th round of the draft. So how have you been able to do that? I mean, you just didn't let this take you down.
I mean, you just gotta step back and look at life. Like, you're in a great situation overall that you're able to be healthy. You know, that's one thing going through, you know, even with my brother going through an injury and my pops and everybody in the family, like, you value life and you value opportunity and just waking up every day a different way. So that's kind of why it's nothing for me to really, no matter what, in any situation, I can't really be fazed by it. You know, it's like playing quarterback. You go down there, you may have not scored the whole game or whatever, but then when it gets to that final 2 minutes and it's time to lock in extra, you can't be in your feelings. You can't be down about anything. You know, you still got another chance.
You said you like the kids because their minds aren't corrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Corrupted as in, like, other people's opinion of you, like, they go based off their own, you know, so they don't have 99% of hatred is, you know, towards Pops. And then I'm just his son. So it really just comes from that, and I told him that too. But, you know, it just comes from him. But then, you know, they didn't grow up in an era to where, you know, they watched him play, so they don't have anything too much negative, whether they say flashy, this, that. Like, this the older generation that do it to me rather than the younger people. Because when I come in person, there's no negativity I see, but it's all over online. So that's why I say I like going in person and actually meeting them. And any questions they have, I say, just ask me whatever question you want. Pick any question. No filter, no anything.
I know. I know.
One second, I got you. But yeah, that's what they say, and then I just answer whatever they need me to answer. But the most question they asked me was just like, how is it mentally going through all this? And I just told them it's just like playing quarterback, so I can't be fazed by it.
I know your dad in the pre-draft process had said, like, with everything you've dealt with attention and scrutiny, that you're very well prepared, in his opinion, to take on everything that comes with being in the NFL. Just what has that been like, I guess, throughout your life, and how has he helped you navigate that, especially these last few years?
I say definitely he gave us the spotlight to be able to do that, so he gave us the opportunity. That's all you can ask for in anybody's job and anybody's profession, is just an opportunity to give a chance. The rest after that is on you. So I'm taking every snap out there, you know. I'm getting up after these hits. I'm throwing touchdowns. I'm the one, you know, that got to live it day by day. So that's all he gave us was the opportunity, and we had to navigate and see what we like about. And that's why I study people. Honestly, I study people, see how they handle certain things, see what they do, see different people's tendencies when it's going on. So you won't ever really be able to tell, you know, when I'm frustrated and when I'm not feeling good or anything, because I watch, even self-reflecting, you know, years, even just on sidelines and stuff, you know, I feel like I could have handled better situations because it was misunderstood by the mass, but I understood. But, you know, I don't want anybody to form negative opinions, you know, about me, and it's something I could change. So I just took that type of leadership ability within myself to not give that vibe off or not give off that different type of aesthetic or negativity.
Go ahead.
When you say watching people, like, do you just mean like in general, or teammates, or
no,
other quarterbacks?
watching people is like other successful people. Okay. It's not just the position. I say it's just everybody in life, because like people in life, they go through different challenges, but it's similar. So if it's a financial guy and his business is crashed or something, like how is he throughout those moments? You know, like is he frantic? Like is he out of character? So that's why whenever you seen the draft and all that stuff happen, and everything was live. So I was normal, and I'm normal throughout everything, because all it is what's the next step. So I was just thinking, you know, what's next?
About that, you know, when
Are we
you
gonna
got
take
that-
3 more?
When you got that phone call, your family friend book said that you kind of just let it roll right off your back. You went to throwing the football right after.
Yeah.
Where does that mindset come from?
Well, I jumped in the pool. But I don't even try to think about that day because I got practice, you know. So all that stuff was cool for that time. But now, you know, I got practice. I got to learn the playbook. So
Shedeur, can you see how it would be?
Just where are you at? And
we're on day
how's
2.
How's it different compared to Colorado and Jackson State?
Well, of course, it's the league, so, you know, it's longer, of course. But learning, I feel like I'm on track. Like how you feel like any day 2 system.
Can you see
Are
how
we
it would
gonna
be?
hit Jimmy, K. Martin, and then Mary Kay?
Can you see how it would be hard for someone like Dillon to share a quarterback room with you, given all of your popularity? And
I just live in my own perspective. I don't live in other people's perspective of how somebody would feel over anything. You know, I don't feel any type of way as a person in anybody's situation. Like, if it's something I like, it's something I respect it. You know, like I don't have any type of negativity or hate in my thought process. So, I don't know how to answer that question, truthfully.
Shedeur, you had said things could have been worse. You're healthy, you're blessed, you're happy to be here. But as a guy who, even people in this building, other places have said you don't have day 3 talent. So what's the mindset now as far as the opportunity that's in front of you, as far as proving the type of NFL quarterback you could be?
I mean, thank you for saying that, because I don't, like, my job here isn't to prove people wrong. Like, I prove myself right. That's and I fully have self-belief, you know, and what those people say, that's just their opinion. So I don't truly care. They don't really live in my mental space about that type of stuff. It really doesn't do anything for me.
Shedeur, we'll hopefully end up with kind of a fun one here, and that is the Cavs showed you some love and some support throughout this process. And just wondering, have you caught Cavs fever a little bit? What do you think of Donovan Mitchell, and do you think you can get yourself down to one of these games and join in on some of the fun?
Yeah, so of course I want to go to the game, but I gotta, of course, bring some teammates with me. So we're gonna see. Hopefully they make it down the stretch, and then we'll be able to catch one. You know, with a lot of teammates. A lot of stuff for me don't excite me anymore personally. So like I like having an atmosphere like friends, family, you know, around, and being able to share the same experience with them. So I seen they won yesterday. But like I said, I was focused on the playbook. I couldn't even watch the game. So that was pretty much it. But I respect everything they're doing. And the downtown, the poster is real nice on there. That's really cool. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here.
I know you couldn't get 2, but did you take 12 just because of the Brady? Everyone's wondering why you took 12. Can you kind of explain that, or what happened?
Why I took number 12? It was the best available number for me. That's it.
Will you try to buy 2 from DeAndre?
Nah, I'm not trying to buy anything. My signing bonus ain't that high right now. Appreciate y'all.
What'd you think of your first day on the field?
Felt good, you know. Honestly, I think this is definitely a place where I thrive, being able to get back in the building. And I think, within 6 months of the draft process, you're kind of teamless, and a lot of time for you to build and grow individually. But this is where I thrive, being in a team environment. And that's why you play the game of football,
When we talked to Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, they said they spent so much time with you during the pre-draft process. Did you get a sense that they really liked you?
Yeah, I think it was mutual, and I think naturally you have conversations and you look at the game of football in a similar way. Naturally that just builds over time. So spent a lot of time with them. Of course, super excited I'm here and blessed that I am, and felt like this is a spot for sure.
Dillon, that video with the bird calls, was that authentic? What was that all about?
Yeah, it's like that metaphor, a little birdie told me, so kind of played with that, but funny enough that got out, and yeah, it's there for everyone to see.
Dillon, can you just address this whole notion of you're coming in here as the 3rd round pick, Shedeur's coming in as the 5th round pick, yet he brings a lot of the social media and the entourage and the hype and all the hoopla and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what is your sort of mindset or approach to that whole notion of that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, life of simplicity is a life full of, focus. Life of, complexity comes with life of distractions, but for me, I'm focused, I'm simple, I know what I want to accomplish.
With that though, what was your reaction when you found out they did draft Shedeur after they drafted you?
Yeah, I love it. I love it because of who it is. I think just for us both, you can learn from one another, but also it's not just us two in the room, at least for right now it is, but, going into the year, Kenny, Joe, and even Deshaun, just a bunch of guys who played a bunch of ball that we can all learn from one another.
How familiar were?
Has there been anyone in this building that maybe you gravitated towards, kind of party attached yourself to here?
Yeah, Ron and Corey in the equipment room, they've been huge help. Definitely guys you interact with every single day, but not only them, I think just a bunch of the guys going through this process, grinding and learning from one another, but it's been a good one, and I think you see the urgency from everyone and knowing that this opportunity you want to maximize.
Dillon, how familiar?
Coming in here and being part of a 4-man quarterback competition this offseason.
Yep, it's not new to me. I've done it at every stop, and I've done it at every level. So thank goodness for that and great preparation in that. But also know that my competition is yesterday. How can I be better than I was yesterday? So that's what I'm focused on, and continue to create an environment that you want to be a part of, and that's all you can do.
Dillon, how familiar were you and Shedeur with one another, like in college or anything?
I think from a distance, you definitely watch quarterbacks playing at a high level, and I think with anyone, you're pretty focused on your season and who you play against, but of course know of and have seen.
And then just with the Browns, you talked about the interest being mutual, you thought, throughout the pre-draft process. What about them? Did you enjoy getting to meet Kedon and everyone ahead of time?
Yeah, just like I said, the similar way of thinking about the game, and offensively, schematically, the whole nine. I just appreciate that. And, I think naturally when you, in any profession, if you connect with a person, it just happens, and naturally it's our thing about football, but also as people. Very easy people to, learn from and be coached by.
When you talk about keeping it simple and sort of not getting distracted,
yep.
How about just like you guys, every single thing that you do is going to be scrutinized, put out there on social media, put on Twitter. Even yesterday, people were like, "Oh, Dillon did better, Shedeur did better." So, what about that? Do you plan to kind of ignore that, engage in it? What's your approach to that?
Yeah, I think the more questions I get asked like that, it just divides the team. And for me, I think, we're in a room full of not just us, but Kenny, Joe, and Deshaun, and for us, we know how important a healthy QB room is, but also, a team that you want to be a part of, and how do you create an environment every single day where everyone can be at their best, and that's just pushing one another, which talent naturally does, and naturally it's healthy. For us, where we all go do our thing and everyone wins.
Dillon, in the mechanics of your position, how important is it to spiral the ball?
Yeah, I think naturally with pace, touch, and accuracy, spin naturally helps that. Also, velocity has a little bit to do with it. But then just getting the ball from point A to point B in as efficient way as possible, spiral naturally helps that.
Dillon, what goes into your process? You've transitioned into different offenses multiple times in college. What goes into your process of kind of expediting the process of picking up the new system you're going in?
Yeah, there's no way around it. Just through, and you got to continue to learn. Of course, I've had my time in learning a bunch of new offenses and a bunch of different areas and connecting with different people. But for the most part, it's hard work, it's dedication. Everyone has their process, whether it's walkthroughs, installs. Being able to tie in film with that, but for the most part, There's no way around it. It's through.
How would you compare the playbook at Oregon versus what you walked into here in Cleveland?
You know, a lot of similarities. I think verbiage for everyone has been something that's new, and that's natural. You know, in college there is more tempo-based offenses, which, you know, naturally to help yourself in tempo, you have to have shorter calls where, you know, in the NFL, a huddle is more a natural procedure. So naturally you can, you know, add more verbiage to that. But for me, did a mixture of both. Very blessed as well to do the Senior Bowl, which is great practice for this kind of stuff. But throughout the process, you tend to go through playbooks and have to rep it that day of. And like I said, 3 different spots, you learn how to create your own process for it.
Dillon, what about hearing your name called, take us inside your draft party, and what that moment was like for you?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, I think, you know, when you go back to that, it's a dream come true, but it's also the beginning of your dream. So excited for the work to come, and you know, this is where I wanted to be, but you know, the dreams and goals don't stop there.
What's been your interaction or reaction with Browns fans so far?
I mean, I haven't had enough yet. It's been my second day, but bunch of love. Look at this weather. Isn't this beautiful? But no, I'm just playing. But yeah, it's been a blessing coming here and kind of getting the lay of the land, even though it's only my second day. So I'll have to answer that here in a couple weeks.
In your college career, how often were you under center? Would you put a percentage on it?
A good mixture. I think more so this past year. But naturally, if you play 6 years in college, you're going to get under center one way or another. And for me, you know, comfortability is just getting reps. And we're repping it a bunch here, but have done it in game, in practice, in college. So it'll naturally translate as well.
I think you said before that you're used to competition at quarterback, but you also started a ton of games. So does this feel any different to you walking into such a kind of wide open competition?
It doesn't. And like I said, with competition, how I approach it, I'm trying to beat yesterday. You know, myself yesterday. Just any chance I can be 1% better than that. That's how I look at it. And naturally, you play the quarterback position. Only one guy can play. So there's naturally going to have competition at all levels, and that's why we're in this game. We love it, you know. And if you're a competitor, you love it and you run towards it. So that's what I do.
Could you clear it up? Were you told by the Browns we're taking you at 94?
I don't know. We'll leave that up to mystery.
Dillon, I know there was this clip going around from you in college talking about you like playing in nice weather or climate-controlled elements.
Well, I hear you there. I'll say this. This is what's tough about right now, right? Like in this day and age, a clip is a clip, yet it was a fun interview full of a bunch of questions. So I'm glad you asked that question. But we decided to clip certain things that maybe could get more views than other, you know, clips within that video. I just challenge everyone to watch the full video, you know, and not just watch one clip.
Dillon, going through the draft process, the biggest criticism was your size. What do you have to say to those critics say that you might not be big enough?
I have nothing to say to the critics. You know, for me, everyone has an opinion and is right to have their own opinion and can speak in how they feel. But for me, like I said, I'm simple, I'm focused. I got goals I want to accomplish. I would not be here if I listened to other people. So for me, it's listening to the right people, coaches, getting better every single day. And controlling what you can is when you get in between those white lines, dominating the moment, maximizing the moment, being present.
You said, one last thing.
Yep.
You said the day you were drafted, we talked to you on the phone, and you said I've never been not a starter. So is your mindset that you can be the starter early for this team?
I think it's so early. You know, for me, I said that in the sense that I only know one way to prepare. I only know one way to work, and that is as the starter. You know, I've played a bunch of ball and have a lot of experience, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. But for the most part, I can't say that right now. I got to continue to dominate the moment and have great practices. As you build upon that, you know, I still look forward to meeting my new teammates, you know, the vets on Monday. So I think that'll be a question down the road. But I think every day I approach is like I'm going to go get that rep. And, you know, I live it like that.